it's different than most of the games I've played, and there's multiple endings. So we'll probably go through at least 2 or 3, and they can be quite long. So I'll try and get through as many as I can. But I'm probably going to break this into multiple videos. So let's go ahead and begin.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alright guys, so we're in the game now. And if you look around and see the graphics, this is what I mean by Portal and a Pixar movie. It's kind of cartoony, realistic, I guess.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay, so in this game, when your game ends, when you reach an ending, you don't start completely over. It won't go through the intro. You'll restart the game, and you'll start back in that room. And every time you start, there will be little changes throughout the game. You probably won't notice in the beginning, but after a couple of times, you're going to start to notice. The first one is over here by this desk, and if I can just get over there. I really enjoy this.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain it. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
Okay, we're going to hit escape and begin the game again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There's little secrets hidden throughout the game, such as this awaiting input. There's a bar that just lit up when I clicked it, and it looks like there's 3 or 4 more after this. But it's a different computer each time you play.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Now, for this run through, I'm going to follow his directions in order for you to know basically what my decisions are after we do it the way he wants us to. One of the hidden gems or eggs or whatever you want to call it is right here. It's this painting. And if you click it a couple of times, it changes. And it says Employee of the Year. And I'm not sure if that's maybe one of the creators or writers or something. Probably one of the developers or level designers.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Do not alter without consulting whiteboard manager. Meeting room floor 4XX group. It's the meeting schedule. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. The number of slides on this slide. Rate at which charts on the same slide depict the same information. I like that. There's lots of small things that you have to look around to notice. The broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
So if you don't do what he says, there's always some kind of commentary.
But Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Moving on.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
I like this painting over here. It says Sewage Lilies by Claude Money. And the middle one says, I am the most expensive boss. I wish I had this office. This is his boss's office. And his office was really small. So here we have an elevator.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Better go back then. I really like the sound of, I don't know if you can hear it, but the sound of his feet walking.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it, and realized he simply had too much to live for.
I said his feet walking, but the sound of his feet as he's walking, it sounded funny the other way.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
It's like an IMAX theater, except with multiple screens. I think they do multiple screens too, they're just not as far apart. I'm not sure how that stuff works. Just assume. Okay, I'm gonna do another little secret thing. It's not really a secret, but it is. And I hope it's not too loud. If it is, I'm gonna cut it out.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Okay, normally you would go here, and that takes you up. But I'm gonna go this way, and in a minute, this gate right here will open. And there the gate goes.
own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Alright, so none of these consoles do anything right now. And I think there's a meaning behind what I'm about to do. I think if I activate the mind control down there, it's gonna start a countdown, and you think, because there's numbers, there's 5, I think, total numbers or something, and then there's also these colored buttons, and they change, and but there's the big red button. No matter what you do, the countdown still happens, and I think it's kind of showing how no matter what, there's always things that you can't control that'll be beyond your control that you can't do. So system
When at
power.
last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
So I could click off and turn it off, or I can click on to turn on the mind control machine. I'm going to click on this time.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Alright, so we're on a 2-minute timer right now.
You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Normally,
Dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? One soul? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
so that was the ending for that scenario. And no matter what you do, this is one of my favorites. See, this is what I was talking about, how it's different every time you restart. This one has papers all over the floor. This time we're gonna go an alternate route. Or route, however you like to say it. There's that employee of the month again.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
This time we're gonna go to the right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alright, for this we have 2 decisions. We can go in here, which leads to the office down there, or we can go to the right. We're gonna go to the right again.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Again, this has 2 ways we can go, and you can stay on the lift and ride it, or you can do what we're gonna do.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have 0 consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
I really like the narrator. I think he's the same one from the name's right there. I just can't think of it. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm not sure, but it kind of sounds like him.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Now, the first one we listened to his instructions, so this time we're just gonna go all the way through without regarding his instructions at all.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
I like how they did this, and they put the red door right there, so it looks like you only have one, but then back here you have the blue door.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see, there's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Quite nice. I like this one.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
5 stars.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly. A calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Dirty you try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. I like how it says it also says we have no friends. Now, I don't think that the statistics are actually, I think they just put them in there. I'm not sure though. They could have done like a beta and then seen for those stats, but for the percentages, not the. That's all made up.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Let's say 3.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
This game may be a little loud.
Would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
And I'm not gonna play the game very long. The one that he's come up with.
The baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
It's a really annoying noise. We won't watch.
You heartless bastard. What to do? I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
These are some really good references.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then...
This is Minecraft for anyone that hasn't seen it before.
Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand?
It's really nice.
It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
10 out of 10 house. I like the sounds it makes as he walks. Not very grassy though.
My, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. You brought a light? Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
This next one is Portal, the one I was talking about, I believe. Yes, this is Portal.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Oops.
wishful thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
This is the companion cube.
Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more.
This is like an unfinished office. Looks like that's the only way we can go. This is my office, 427.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no delay. Once this ends, after it all comes